Gang, we are talking conspiracy theories. Let me be crystal clear up front about why I'm doing this. There was just an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Like I have seen with basically all crimes that wind up in a newspaper, there's a lot of strange elements to it. And when you look at anything close enough, you see whatever you want. Let me be crystal clear. What is almost always true, not always, but just about always, is whatever the most boring explanation is. What happened with this? We don't know yet. We don't know yet. But most likely, a young man who we will, I suspect, find out had a bunch of other problems, saw what was happening in political life in America and decided that the way they were going to contribute was by being a murderer. They failed at killing the person they were apparently trying to kill. They only succeeded in gunning down an innocent person standing behind him, critically wounding two others, and breaking their parents' heart when the Secret Service killed him. That's all they succeeded in doing. I'll remind everybody real quick, political violence is always a bad idea. It is unethical. It's definitely immoral. But quite frankly, it's just bad strategy. Always has been. Always will be. Don't do it. But you're lefties. So I assume you won't do it. If you're watching this show, odds are you're lefties. Which brings us to the beginning of conspiracy time, because amongst the weird things, the Republican candidate for president was wounded from gunfire from a Republican. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's a stone cold fact. What will make this a breeding ground for conspiracy theories is, now that we know that fact, it's going to be a few days before we know much else. It'll at least be mid-Monday before we learn much else. And good. Give it a little time. Understand that the people with information about this person just lost their son, their sibling, their friend, or their coworker. They're dealing with more than you are right now. Give them a minute to plan the funeral, to get their lives sorted. Give them a minute. And while they're taking that time, we can wildly speculate, because there is a bunch of weird stuff. I want to talk to you guys about some of the conspiracy theories I've already heard, why they're interesting, and why I think they're probably wrong. So, thing number one, this guy donated to the Democrats. Oh. And yet he was a registered Republican? Well, yeah, he donated apparently shortly after January 6th, when he would have been 17 years old, I think. And then later, he registered as a Republican and apparently voted as a Republican. So, odds are what we're seeing is a person who was conservative-minded, but not MAGA, saw Project 2025 and freaked out. Okay. But what if he was a secret plant? What if Trump put him up there on that roof and was trying to create a moment, and he asked this person, all right, listen, you got to shoot at me, but don't shoot me. You got to just hit the ear, all right? I want to cut off any conspiracy theory that involves Trump being brave enough to let somebody shoot at him with anything. If it can cut an ear, it can take out an eye. I don't believe that Trump has the courage to go through with such a plan. Okay, conspiracy theory number 2. Why was that guy even up there? Why was that guy even up there? There was people in the crowd. This is true. There was people in the crowd who say they saw the guy and were desperately telling police, there's a guy on a roof there. Right there. You can see him. I'm pointing at him, and that guy has a gun, and there's a presidential candidate right now. Right now? Right now. And there's a clear line of sight. And the police went, duh. Well, now, wait a minute. Now, there's a guy with a gun. Well, there's a presidential... Pow, 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 pow. What? Was it a conspiracy? Was it an inside job? Or the Secret Service trying to let something happen? Fascinating. Fascinating idea. Wild incompetence from the Secret Service, certainly. The 200-yard shot after we saw what happened to JFK, for God's sake. We should have dealt with that. Civilians were spotting the person. When you imagine the Secret Service at a presidential campaign event, do you not imagine every roof has like 2 people on it? Constantly scanning, doing one of these moves. They're supposed to be like defense ninjas. So why the hell did they let that happen? There actually is a explanation for this as well. And it may satisfy you. You may recall names like Tony Ornato. Trump's Secret Service operates very much the same way that all Trump organizations do. It's all yes men. It's all people that play Trump's ego games that get put in positions of power. To him, these positions are not to be filled by the most competent people he can find. These are gifts to be given to his friends. Trump's Secret Service detail, we've known for years now, is made up almost entirely of people he chose, that he likes. He gives those positions and advocates for those positions to be given to people he's comfortable with. And they're a bunch of MAGA morons. Do you set aside for a moment how you feel about the politics of MAGA and just look at their ability to run organizations? They were some of the, like, Trump's government was one of the most disastrously run things in existence. For a while there, the majority of the appointed positions were temporary appointees. All of them. I should say not all of them. The majority of them. Temporary appointees. As in, there was people doing the job for 6 months, but they were never quite confirmed. Either because they could never get confirmed, because they just they couldn't pass the background checks necessary for the jobs Trump wanted to give them, or because Trump liked to dangle over their heads that they weren't confirmed yet. Not confirmed. Can still pick someone else. Maybe I will. Now, who said they were going to get new batteries for the Coke button? Oh, you're willing to do that now. You're willing to run to the store now. Neat. Neat. That's Trump's Secret Service now. Did they do a shitty job? Yup. But that's what I expect. Because they're Trump people. The Secret Service was already not a stellar organization. You remember when they just let that guy wander into the White House during Obama's time. They just let them wander around. They're an embarrassment already. But the Trump version of it, it's a clown show. I'm shocked they even realized that there was gunfire happening. That is the logical explanation. They're idiots. But it doesn't mean we don't do anything. People got to go to prison for this. If not prison, people got to get fired for this. Bare minimum. Like, these people can never be trusted. Like, you cannot, in good conscience, take anybody who was involved in leadership for that event, for the security of that event, and put them in charge of anything else. Because at that point, if you did that, you would have the liability for what goes wrong. Somebody died. Someone was shot to death because they failed. They got to be fired. We need an investigation into this. My understanding is an investigation has been opened into this already. Biden's White House opening an investigation into this. And I'm sure we're going to find out that a Trump sycophant was in charge. I honestly wonder if Trump will do anything to spare him. What other conspiracy theories about this do you have? That's what I ask you in the comments or you in the live show. Let me know. I'd love to address them. The other one I heard is that maybe Trump wounded himself, which is kind of interesting. I just go back to the same thing. I don't think he has the courage for it. Let me know. Have you heard any interesting conspiracy theories? I'd love to talk about them. And unfortunately, skeptic that I am, I think probably they're wrong. But that doesn't mean they aren't fun. Let me know in the comments.